Welcome to Japan English News, Quick Scan. Today's headlines. Record 250,000 patients stuck at home. More than 250,000 people are recuperating at home with COVID-19, double the figure at the peak of the fifth wave of cases last summer. The Health Ministry announced January 28 that a record 264,859 patients around Japan were resting at home after testing positive for the novel coronavirus. Hospitals were treating about 17,000 COVID-19 patients and 23,000 or so were recuperating in designated lodging facilities as of January 26, it said. 4,300 slots at Tokyo Mass Vaccination Center booked in less than 10 minutes. The Defense Ministry announced on January 28 that 4,320 slots at a coronavirus mass vaccination center in the capital were booked up in less than 10 minutes after reservations for booster shots opened that evening. The 4,320 slots, or 720 per day, for the first week of the mass inoculation program starting on January 31 were all booked by 6:09 p.m. on January 28 after online and telephone reservations began at 6 p.m. Extra university entrance exams held in Japan for those impacted by COVID. An extra round of unified university entrance exams started across Japan on Saturday for students who missed out on the annual tests earlier this month due to coronavirus infections and other illnesses, as well as the impact of a tsunami caused by a massive volcanic eruption in Tonga. The two-day tests are taking place at 48 venues across the country with a total of 1,659 people allowed to participate, the second highest number of attendees on record for follow-up exams. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson eyeing mid-February visit to Japan. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson plans to visit Japan in mid-February for talks with Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, sources familiar with the matter said Saturday. During Johnson's planned trip on February 15 and 16, the two leaders are likely to discuss ways to enhance security cooperation in the Indo-Pacific, where China has become increasingly assertive in its territorial claims in the East and South China Seas, the sources said. Chinese travel for Lunar New Year despite plea to stay put. Chinese are traveling to their hometowns for the Lunar New Year, the country's biggest family holiday, despite a government plea to stay where they are as Beijing tries to contain coronavirus outbreaks. The holiday, which starts with Chinese New Year's Eve on Monday, usually is the biggest annual movement of humanity as hundreds of millions of people who migrated for work visit their parents and sometimes spouses and children they left behind or travel abroad. Hostage who died in standoff near Tokyo was beloved doctor, community hero. A man who died during a hostage standoff at a home in the city of Fujimino, Saitama Prefecture, was a beloved doctor whose loss has been felt by many. At around 9 p.m. on January 27, a man with a hunting rifle took 44-year-old Junichi Suzuki hostage while the doctor was visiting the man's home. Police stormed the house and took the suspect into custody shortly before 8 a.m. on January 28, some 11 hours after the standoff began. Suzuki was taken to a hospital, where he was confirmed dead. No peace in Myanmar 1 year after military takeover. The army takeover in Myanmar a year ago that ousted Aung San Suu Kyi not only unexpectedly aborted the country's fledgling return to democracy, it also brought a surprising level of popular resistance, which has blossomed into a low-level, but persistent, insurgency. Senior General, the commander of Myanmar's military seized power on the morning of February 1, 2021. Arresting Suu Kyi and top members of her government and ruling National League for Democracy Party, which had won a landslide election victory in November 2020. Pittsburgh bridge collapses, drops city bus into ravine. A 50-year-old bridge collapsed in Pittsburgh early Friday, requiring rescuers to rappel down a ravine and form a human chain to reach a few occupants of a municipal bus that plummeted along with the span. No deaths were reported. The collapse came hours before President Joe Biden arrived in the city to promote his $1 trillion infrastructure law, which has earmarked about $1.6 billion for Pennsylvania bridge maintenance. Plastic waste 1,300 times heavier after typhoons hit. Typhoons churn up so much plastic debris littering beaches and other areas that the volume of plastic trash floating in the world's oceans rises 1,300-fold in weight afterward, according to researchers. A team at the Japan Agency for Marine Earth Science and Technology based in Yokosuka, Kanagawa Prefecture, found that foam polystyrene containers and packages hurled in all directions by a typhoon's howling winds and high waves get broken down into minuscule pieces. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.